right, and we're live. We're ready to do our emergency broadcast.
Adam, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. It's not been long since we last talked.
It's not been long at all.
Things are happening. What brings on a Tuesday night emergency podcast?
I think a quick one was warranted. It came up in the Facebook feed today, reported by Shams Sharania. I hope I pronounced that properly. That's a tricky one to pronounce.
Just say Shams, I guess.
Yeah, we all know Shams. Zion Williamson is not expected to return to play this season. So he's a pretty legit source. I couldn't find anything to substantiate this other than, what I saw on Facebook. So it is very early days, but at the same time, yeah, he's like a super legit dude.
So my question here is it Zion that doesn't want to play, or are the Pelicans taking their asset very seriously?
I definitely think it is an asset management thing because
I mean, we know straight away everybody has been, myself included, jumping into the rumor, the ensuing rumor mill that has
yeah,
sparked an emergency broadcast from us.
yeah.
Like, is New Orleans getting ready to trade said asset, or are they just wrapping him up for the year to go, next season we'll be back and we'll be bigger and better?
I don't think that the GM there, David Griffiths, could survive trading two superstars because he traded away AD, didn't he?
Well, here's my theory, right?
Talk to me.
They're going to trade AD for Zion. And then David Griffith undoes his mistake with Anthony Davis, or redoes his mistake with Anthony Davis, depending how you look at it, and the Lakers end up with Zion. I think LeBron would be furious, but that's not the point.
I don't want to be like mean to you, but I think you're too Lakers focused here. Do you know what I mean? Like,
No,
everything
I
in the
actually
league doesn't revolve around the Lakers. So
I have to admit, it was a friend of mine that suggested this trade, and I thought it was laughable. Yeah, given that they play the same position, but yes, I do you think they're trading? They're not winding up to trade to get rid of him.
honestly, I think in this situation with New Orleans, like, there's such a small market, they've already lost AD to a trade.
Mm.
I almost feel as though, like, they've got a couple more years to get this resolved. Like, firstly, but I'd also say too, I almost feel like this is the thing where he leaves them. Like, even if they lose him for nothing, at least they kind of say, we did all we can do. The other thing too is, like, performance-wise, they're playing really, really well at the moment.
They
And
are, but why would you wrap him up when they're doing this?
well, I think that's the thing. Like, I think in terms of long-term, management of a player, like, it makes no sense to bring him back. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
they,
you're in the play. You're in the playing game. You're probably not going much further than that.
yeah,
Why would
exactly. Who
you put
cares?
a
Yeah,
very, we'll say, out of game condition
yeah,
Zion up against playoff level basketball, which is a lot more intense, and it gives him a lot more opportunity to get injured and be out for next season.
yeah. So the Pels are in 10th at the moment. In their last 10, they're 4-6. I was actually thinking they were going to be like 8-2 or something like that. But still, like, they've been actually playing organized basketball. So I think
Yeah.
that's a massive start for them.
I think they've got a great core there. So I mean, Zion staying put would be definitely a good thing
Yeah,
for the franchise.
yeah.
But look, as you pointed out, the GM has made some pretty bad decisions in the past, and they seem to be the fool in a lot of them. So, not going to say that all the Anthony Davis trades. I thought they got some good pieces back for AD.
They got a lot back
They
for AD.
they
I
they
don't think.
fleeced the
Yeah,
Lakers there, in my opinion, but it was a
I don't know
big.
about fleece, man. I think if you win a chip,
Yeah, right, fair enough. The chip makes it worthwhile, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't know. There's a little bit of buyer's remorse in the back of my mind. I think about, yeah, we won a championship, but the Lakers really did a lot of damage to their future
yeah,
with that, and put all their eggs in one basket, and we can
yeah,
see where that's taken them. Anyway, this is Zion we're talking about.
yeah.
The Pelicans, the way they're constructed at the moment, does Zion fit?
I think so.
Do the Pelicans not have to play in the play-in tournament next season?
think if he plays,
Yeah.
they'll be above the play-in tournament. But I think realistically, the big piece that they acquired to go next to him was Valanciunas, and I think those two can play together really well because he's got enough of an outside shot to actually give Zion a bit of breathing room. And then, interestingly, McCollum I actually think fits really well with Zion because if you're doing what Van Gundy did to him last season, essentially playing him as like a point forward, well then McCollum can play off that really really well. That probably suits his game a bit better.
Yeah, and then you've got
So,
obviously you've got Ingram there as well. So
yeah.
they're a very well-rounded team.
Yeah, they've got shooting around him too, so I think that's what they needed for him. And
Yeah. Look. I think the Pelicans have the potential to be dominant. I don't know I don't know where it stems from, but I just feel like there's something lacking in New Orleans, be it the coaching staff, be it the front office. They just don't seem to be able to get the most out of their team. And I just hope that Zion having this off season and not having pressure to come back does make him, he's sort of the better for it.
yeah,
I also hope he doesn't start eating himself into a stupor whilst he's taking an extended break from the game, because he's been off a lot this year, obviously.
yeah,
And wrapping it up means he's not going to play basketball for a while. So the question there, I suppose, which leads into, we're not going to see the instant impact of card prices. But what do you think this means for people that are looking to sort of get that maybe adding that Zion rookie to their collection?
yeah. You unpacked a fair bit there, and can I just go back sort of 2 seconds?
Go for it.
You're talking about the team sort of being rudderless. I think a lot of that had to do with the management situation that they were in. Because remember, this is my recollection. It was that the husband who essentially had the central ownership stake was like very unwell.
Yeah.
And then he passed away. So there was this whole kind of thing was like, were they going to sell the team or keep the team? And then the wife ended up inheriting the team.
Yeah.
And has carried it on forwards. I kind of feel like that team was in purgatory, for a couple of years, essentially because of that. And it seems to me that Shelley is like essentially got like all in best intentions there. So my impression was they got that draft pick, which was like, a draft pick sent from heaven. And then they brought, David in, which to me was like definitely a move in the right direction. And then he seems to have probably made the wrong coaching choice, but then the wrong with Van Gundy. But then Willie Green this year seems to be really good for that team, like in terms of just having like a steady voice, a hardworking guy that seems to be able to connect with people. In terms of being a tactician, he seems to be sort of like getting his feet a lot more too. So I think that was probably my sort of hesitation with him. Like when I sort of first looked at him, I was like, he didn't really be reacting quickly enough. Whereas this season recently, I feel like he's been doing a lot better in that space. I'm overall optimistic for this team, because I think that now they've got a good owner, they've got a decent GM, they've got a decent coach, like they've got a very good core. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to Zion's health and whether he sticks around. That's probably that's how I feel now. To answer your second question about what does this mean for people buying Zion. So I think the last episode we did, we sort of highlighted that, if you bought a month ago, you've just put 20% into your pocket. Probably my feeling now is he's going to go down another 20, maybe even 30%, because I think people won't take this news very well.
I'm losing money on the 2,000 I've spent on the Zion rookie versus the Luka already.
Yeah. So can we talk about Luka in a second after this?
Oh wow, yep.
Right. Yeah, because actually I did like sort of try to follow that up a little bit, but yeah, I think look, if you've just bought a week ago, I think it's not looking great for you. But so there's two things in play here: is people are going to take this news and probably take it pretty poorly. I think they're going to jump to conclusions, thinking it's all bad, even if it is a maintenance issue. And then the other thing you need to take in mind too is they're going to be out of the playoffs. So essentially for the next 4 to 5 months, there's going to be no, action on the Pelicans. And as we all know, that basketball is very much like a performance, results driven, card collecting.
If he's not performing, then what is there to go on?
that's the normal cycle of NBA season. So I
Yeah.
think I've already said this on air before. I always try and buy one nice card in the off season. I sort of plan my year around that. So you know I would say if you've already bought into Zion, be prepared for that. And if you're looking to buy him, well then prepare for that too, because maybe in 3 to 4 months time, that's going to be like the choice time to buy Zion.
So you want to buy
As
the
we
silver
stand now.
prism that I was going to buy for 2K, and you want to buy it off me for 500? Is what you 500 cheaper in the off season?
Yeah, so let's deduct off like 30%, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly right.
Closing the loop on the Zion, guess how many Zion BGS 9.5s are currently for auction?
Oh, I have no idea.
0.
Oh, so people are in a holding pattern.
Yeah, I think, people aren't silly. Like, they're checking sold listings before they're putting stuff up for 99 cents.
This
Like,
is fair.
it's too risky to sell at that. Like, who wants to,
Yeah.
that's a buy, not a sell at that price, so the market has spoken on that.
That's interesting. It's
Yeah.
it's
Super interesting, right?
it's this holding pattern that worries me with Zion, because it's all about potential at the moment, right? We've seen him on the floor, but it's like when he gets back out, and now we have to wait longer and longer. And look, you understand everybody's sort of panicking at the moment. They're like, this guy is never going to take the court. And the other conclusion they're drawing is this guy is going to be playing for a different team come season opening night in 2022.
I mean, to be fair to people, I'm understanding if you're panicking though. Like, if you were like had never really bought basketball cards before, and you sort of jumped in the hype, and you bought this card that everyone told you was like the one that you needed to get, and it's a
Yep.
sure thing, and you can't lose on it. Like, I get why people would definitely be panicking on this. Like,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no, it's definitely definitely another shift in the landscape that is Zion, and it's probably not as bad as him gaining weight and having other surgeries and not playing and not being happy. This is obviously the Pelicans have announced that he's not taking the court for the rest of the season, and they're managing him because they want him to perform next season. So that's fine.
Yeah.
That's actually, there's nothing negative about that. There's no hint that there's a poor relationship in New Orleans. And the media are going to stir this up. They're going to be like, why are they wrapping Zion up when they could potentially win it all if they had the perfect finish to the season?
Well, it's funny you say that, right? Because the media really haven't been given the opportunity to poke the bear in some sense. Like, he hasn't been around the team to be asking him every second day, what's going on.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Does the team want that kind of unwanted media before the
I never thought
playoffs?
about that angle before, to be perfectly honest. Like, maybe it's actually better that he is away, like, in terms of managing his stress and
Yeah.
all the rest of it.
Also
Yeah,
keeps the circus away from the training facility, I guess.
yeah, that's it.
But
There's
yeah,
still not a silver. I was just checking now while we were chatting. Then there's still not a silver 9.5 for sale. So
interesting.
yeah. This
Interesting.
has actually heightened my awareness even more now. Now I'm like, this is definitely the time to buy. You know what I mean? Like, there's none for sale. Like,
Yeah, there's gonna be a break at some point where someone's like, you know what, he hasn't played. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm gonna sell it before it goes any lower.
yeah,
And that's the time to buy, isn't it?
here's hoping, man.
He's looking good. He's actually the photos we've seen of Zion live. He's slimmed down a bit,
Yeah,
and
but that foot injury is a super weird one though. Like, it can take, 3 months or 13 months. Like, that's literally the nature of the beast. So
he as long as he manages the foot, hopefully we see him back out on the floor again.
yeah. Are we going to keep this one short and sweet?
Very short, very sweet.
Yeah.
I think this
Any
is a
final thoughts, big fella?
look. Be patient, everyone. If you see a Zion at a good price, pick it up, because I think this man's going to hit the court next year or later this year,
Yeah.
and be a force to be reckoned with.
Okay.
It's gonna be. I know we've been waiting for it, but hopefully, the 2022-23 season is the year for Zion.
Yeah.
And look, if it's not, then we start asking questions, don't we?
We need, I think, for our next emergency podcast, we need like some sound effects, like
Like
what
an
the guys
alert,
have on. Yeah, like the.
like an alarm, like a tsunami
Yeah,
warning kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Let's look into this. How we get this
that's it.
sorted out.
Alert,
Yeah.
alert, emergency, emergency broadcast. It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah,
But
man.
yes, Sunday night we'll be
We'll be back in the saddle.
back at it again.
Cheers, big fella. Take it easy.
Thanks, mate. You too.
Bye bye.